Morning guys, it is a beautiful morning here in Indiana and I am on a mission today. Today until about noon is going to be the last day in the foreseeable future, at least 2 or 3 weeks, that it is going to be below freezing. It's going to warm up mid 40s, mid 30s, and all this snow is going to melt, and then everything's going to turn to mud and slop. And I got to get some more wood in the yard so we can get it cut up and get drying for the season. So we had a busy weekend here. It's now Sunday morning and so me and Alec have been working really hard the last few days, and we got a ton of wood done. We got a lot of this pile done. There's a few logs left to do, but that's not going to put a dent into what I have to fill. It's cleaned out. I've gotten rid of a lot of stuff, and I got the dump truck hooked to the dump trailer because yesterday somebody called one of my boiler guys and said, hey, I need wood, bring whatever you can. So I brought him 2 cords of wood and then a bunch of my cutoffs and odd cuts and just stuff that he needs that I don't, it's easier for me to throw in the dump trailer than it is for me to burn it myself or try to work it up. So with that being said, he took a lot of my green wood. He doesn't care, it's a boiler, right? But that just put even more of a dent into my next year's stock. So today we are going to go to the woods and I will show you me cutting these logs a couple weeks ago. We're gonna go pick up those, and then we're gonna go down the road and get some walnut. So this isn't gonna be all the wood I need to get through next year, but it's a start. So but I'm definitely have some urgency with this because I want to have this wood in my yard, because I don't mind working in my yard when it's a little soft, but I can't go out and get this wood when it's muddy because it's in yards, it's in woods, so it needs to get back here. But I've got a mess to clean up first with all this scrap, and there's still some good rags there. This is all big wood that's gonna have to get burned, dude. It was too big for his boiler. I didn't want to give him that much junk, so I got to clean up this mess, and then I'm going to load the mini skid in the dump trailer, and we're going to go get wood. So all right guys, got all this stuff cleaned up. The snow and the frozen ground really is to take it to cleaning up, because the snow kind of just fills in the low spots, and then you can scrape all the stuff up. And I mean, maybe it looks like crap underneath, but it looks better than when I normally clean it. So I had to get the MT in the dump trailer, and the ramps were just slick enough that I could not get it up there. So I threw down some pig mats, and it ran right up the ramps, no problem. Just those cold metal ramps, the wet tracks, not a good combination. So I brought a stack of pig mats, so at least I can get it back on the truck after I load the logs up. So the plan is to go down the road, load the logs up, come back and dump them, go back and get the MT, and then go to the next place. The next place, I will put the logs in the bed of the truck or the front of the trailer. Hopefully just the bed of the truck. If there's too many, then I'll put them in the front of the trailer, and then take the MT home from there with all the wood at the same time. So that's the plan. I know the first job, though, there's definitely more logs than I can get in the truck and trailer. So that's the plan. All right, let's go. right, I got the next load dumped here. This is so exciting to see all these nice logs in my yard and just how open it is. So I'm gonna go back and get the MT, and we're gonna get to the next job and get those loaded up. MT went in the back of the dump trailer this time with no pig mats, but it was really slick this morning. But I think all that road time softened up the tracks a little bit. They're not so cold and hard, and went in the bed a lot better. So we're gonna get back to the yard now. I'm going to probably organize those walnut logs first, and then unhook the dump trailer, dump this ash out, and organize that up. So hope you join me. A little side note too, doing it like this is something that I always envisioned when I bought this dump truck. The ability to bring a machine and be able to put some wood in the front of the trailer, or maybe I haul my flatbed tilt deck and then I can put some wood on the stationary part. But being able to fill the truck and bring a machine back in one shot is huge. And as far as like the truck, is it like overloaded with this combination? I don't think so, because the other day when I hauled a ton of wood in the bed, I had a cord of firewood in the bed and then a ton on the dump trailer. The truck was still not squatted as much as when I haul gravel. So being that this thing is a 450, she is heavy duty. I don't think it is overloaded. So I'll see you back at the yard. Just wanted to add that because this is definitely satisfying for me, because this is what I had envisioned with getting this truck. All right, so I made it back home. And as predicted, the heat is here. The sun is shining in the sky, and everything's just melting. So this is exactly why I wanted to get busy today and get this done. So now I'm going to get the mini excavator and organize all these logs. Whenever I'm back here at the yard and stacking up a log pile, even though these will be cut pretty quick, I like to use the mini excavator because you can just stack them a lot better, and then you can like make sure they're all like even on the end. It's a lot more precise and less movements. Like if you have like gravel and stuff, the mini excavator doesn't require like tracking back and forth as much. So I'll probably like run into that pile, track back, swing it over there, something like that. But I like to use mini excavator for stacking logs. So I'm gonna put you on a time lapse and we'll do that real quick. All right, I got all of that stuff stacked up, hopefully in this pile. I'm hoping there should be at least 10 ricks worth of wood there. Should be. And that would be very beneficial for me. I think that I have like 18 baskets to fill, so this will put a good dent in it. Fun fact here, if you notice a little trend here, is I cut a lot of walnut, and there's walnut all over the country, right? But I think this is just my perspective. I don't know how it is everywhere else, but in this area there is tons of walnut that wasn't naturally grown. They planted all these walnut trees in the 80s, I think. Like Purdue University developed like this hybrid black walnut. This is just what I've been told. They developed this hybrid black walnut tree that was supposed to grow really fast and really straight, and in like 20 years it'd be giant. Well, they planted these all over. They planted like walnut farms, and then there was like investors, I think, that bought land, and then they planted all these walnut trees on them. There's probably some kickback that they got to do it, and then they eventually sold the land, and then they put houses in it. Well, there's so many people that have 2 or 3 acres and they put their house on it, but their yard is just lined with rows of walnut trees that were planted there by somebody, and these people are all tired of mowing around them, tired of picking up the walnuts, all that stuff. So they called me and said, hey, do you want these trees? Like, can we make a deal so you can take them? So that's how it works. I get the idea of planting more trees with the walnuts. Like, you want to plant more trees than you remove, right? But I think like walnut and white oak are only worth so much because they are hard to get. Like, there's not walnut and white oak everywhere. So if the idea was these trees were all going to mature in like 20 or 30 years and they planted them all at the same time, there would have been an influx of walnut, and I don't think it would have been worth near as what it is now. So all of these trees that were planted, that I've ever seen that were planted like on purpose, this hybrid black walnut, none of them are ever big. Like, the biggest one I've ever seen is probably, this is probably on the bigger end. This is maybe, that's probably 20 inches in diameter. But I think like to get a walnut log that's veneer and worth like selling for logs, you need like probably 30 inches, 26 to 30 inches. I think like a lot of this stuff, like this is a common size of a tree. Like, you know, that's like 6 inches. So they don't grow as quick as people said. And at one point when we were cutting like the 7 acres, I saved a bunch of the bigger stuff, like the 16 to 22 inch pieces. And I asked a log buyer, like, are you interested? And they pretty much wanted to pay less than it would be for firewood, because the walnut's pretty good firewood. It cuts really nice, it splits really nice, so I don't mind it too much. But yeah, I figured I'd share that with you, because the only big black walnuts I've ever seen that are probably worth like cutting for lumber, like veneer lumber, are always in river bottoms or lowlands that they get a lot of water. But where they planted all these just out in the middle of fields, like they'll just pick a field like across the street and they'll just line that thing with walnut trees. And I don't see how it's ever supposed to grow like the ones that grow naturally in river bottoms and stuff that get all the water and stuff. But so I still got to dump those ash logs, but you've probably seen enough by now, so I'm gonna let you go, and then you'll have to come back, because we are gonna get busy on cutting this walnut pile and then getting this ash cut, and gotta keep going, gotta keep making wood, because the spring is coming. And yeah, so thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.